All right, this is the Big Douglas Show, episode 163, and it is the first preview Friday of the season. And for that, we brought in Darren Haynes from WUSA 9 in DC. Darren, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. Football's finally here.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? It's finally here. It's one of those moments where it's like, like even the fans are going to be back. It's going to actually, like FedEx Field is going to really feel like FedEx Field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it is a Friday, and we will play the birthday game. Before we do that, though, quick point: it is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, and for that, we have teamed up with the Hog Farmers, who do a great job with the Washington Football Team organization. So I will provide a link. Please click it. Go check out the great works they're doing. We'll partner up with them for a couple fundraiser things this month. So check them out. They do a really great job for a really worthy cause. Now, on to the birthday game. You know how this is. I looked up some celebrities' birthdays this week, and we're going to go through them right now so you can get closest. Who will start with you? Idris Elba has a birthday this week. People say I look a lot like Idris. I'm not sure why. It must be the beard. But how old do you think Idris is this week?
Oh, my goodness. I know Idris has to be clearly in his 50s. Let's go 54.
Darren, that is not right.
My first guess was 53. I feel like he just turned 50 not too long ago, but I'll go 53 years old.
49 for Idris Elba. 49.
I aged him so much.
Here's the thing about it. It's one thing that the fact that he is the kryptonite for all of us because all the ladies just drift towards him. But the other part is now he's closer to our age, which now makes it worse. If he was
Right.
if he was like 70 years old, we'll be like, no problem. Now if we walk into a store or something like that, and we walk in, then he walks in.
So it's a wrap. Right.
I think he's married now, right? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's married.
It don't matter to the ladies, man. It don't matter, bro.
All right, listen. Bernie Sanders has a birthday this week. Darren, how old do you think Bernie Sanders is?
I don't know. 68.
I think Bernie's in his 70s. I'm gonna go 73.
80.
See,
80
that's the you put the stuff in there and make you look. Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane's got a birthday, Pooh. Big Daddy Kane's got a birthday.
Oh man, he's gonna kill me. I actually know Big Daddy Kane, but I have no idea how old Kane is.
I may have a good idea on this one.
I'm gonna go back to the 50s. I think Big Daddy Kane is maybe 50. This is a tough one. 55, maybe. He might not be that old. Yeah, I'm 55. Final answer.
Darren, he is not 55. What do you think?
So I'm gonna try to do some math here. So I listened to Big Daddy Kane. I remember him in the early 90s. And so I'm just thinking most of those young hip hop guys, let's just say they're in their early 20s, and now that's what? We're coming up on almost 30 years. So let's just say, ain't no half stepping. Gosh, let's just go. If that came out in 1990, let's go now. I'll say 51. I'll say 52.
53 for Big Daddy Kane. 53. So close. And let's wrap with this. Adam Sandler's got a birthday. How old do you think Adam Sandler is?
Okay, so I've been cut. Okay, Adam Sandler. I'm gonna go. I think he's probably the same age as like Idris Elba. So I'm gonna say they're the same. I'm gonna say he's 48. I'm probably wrong.
I'm gonna say 51.
This one surprised me. Adam Sandler turns 55 this week. 55.
I'm telling you, it's the stuff.
It's just the stuff. They dabbing.
Well, Darren, speaking of the stuff, while I was doing my homework, 9 Emmys for you, is that right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Incredible. Tell us what the process is like.
The process to get the Emmy.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get nominated. Somebody nominates you. There's a board. How does it work?
Yeah. So for me, honestly, I don't like doing the Emmy stuff. It's usually, actually, we just got the email 2 days ago where it's like, it's that time of year again. Where they want us to say, hey, we have this particular story that we think will win an Emmy. Me, I never do it. And they start harassing me around like December. And they automatically put my name in there. So that's it's different for other people. Some people, like, I know I have a good story, I want to submit it. For me, like, I kind of wait for my job to say, like, hey, do you have anything? Can we submit it? And I'll be like, do I really have to do it? And they're like, yes, probably because you keep winning. But once they get a bunch of like my anchor clips or stories that I've done, whatever, then yeah, it goes off to whatever the Emmy board is. I don't know who it is. They never tell you who it is. I'm sure it changes every once in a while, but then I think it's around April, they let us know who the nominees are, and then in beginning of June, they have the ceremony where they announce the winner. They usually, they'll put like 3 of the finalists. So, a whole bunch of people could submit, but then they pick like the 3 finalists. You don't want to have like 10, 20 finalists, but they cut them down to like 3. I think the most I've ever seen was like 5. That was one year I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna win, because there's some decent people on there.
What led you down this path to being now an Emmy award-winning anchor and journalist? Like, what led you to this path?
Man, that's a long story, man. Like, for real. But like, so if I had to give you 2 different sides of the story, or 2 parts of what got me to where I am now. The first one, and I was just telling my friend this yesterday, my mama. Like, I wanted to be a biology teacher. I wanted to go to high school and teach science. And I played football at the University of Rhode Island and transferred to the University of New Haven. And they did not have an undergraduate education program. So my mother, back then you don't go online, you register for classes. Like, you go to the school and you kind of like write it. And my mother was like, hey, you do the PA for the Pop Warner football games. When you go to church, you're always grabbing the mic. Why don't you get into like sports broadcasting, because you play sports? Had no clue. I've never thought in my mind to ever get into it. And that day at the University of New Haven, I put in communication, sports broadcasting, and that's how I got into the field. To get to winning 9 Emmys, man, that's a long journey, from working with Rob Parker, a guy who was in Detroit, he's now in LA, to Lansing, Michigan, to Alpena, Michigan, where there's like 2 Black people there, myself and some other dude. We're still looking for that other Black guy in Alpena. The Rio Grande Valley, over by literally on the border of Mexico and Texas, and San Antonio, Boston, New York, then like ESPN, and then they laid me off, and then now here in DC. But along that way, man, a bunch of connections. I'll never forget, man, when on my reference sheet, like Big Papi was on my reference sheet. When I went to when I worked in San Antonio and moved to Boston, Greg Popovich was like, because Doc Rivers was the head coach with the Celtics at the time. He was like, you go tell Doc that Pop sent you and take good care of you. And Pop's a cool dude. On camera, he can rip you apart. Cool dude in person. And Doc Rivers and I became cool. And he was on my reference sheet. So you build up all these relationships with people along that ride, and it helps get you into particular positions to be successful. But I mean, it's a long road. It's a long story, man. I got Stuart Scott helping me out, Stan Verrett. I mean, Scott Van Pelt. That list goes on.
People don't realize the grind and all the little stops, particularly for TV. It feels like it's a lot of little tiny stops along the way. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, some people make it to the top right away, but for me, yeah, it was a whole bunch of stations and grinding to make make your way up to what at that time the dream job was the Anchor Sports Center.
Darren, it's interesting as we get back to the football team. You were here for the last regime. You're here now. Like both of these, and this is not to like clown on the previous groupings.
Why not?
We have to. I'll have to book another segment, I think. But what I am curious is both coaches are perceived as players, coaches, but in two totally different ways. What have you seen from Ron since he's been here?
Man, Ron is actually a coach that if I played, I would love to play for him, man. He has that kind of military background where he doesn't take no BS. If you're one of those guys that slacks off, like you won't be on the team. Kind of like a different type of like a Bill Belichick, because you're the Patriot way. If you did something wrong, like you're gone. But he came here and he talked about changing the culture, and I think you guys already see that, man. Like this team, this attitude is totally different than what it was, when Jay Gruden was here. Totally different. The practice style, it's not guys kind of just, I'm not trying to crack on any of the former players. I'm sure there are plenty who try to really work hard, but I think a lot of times when a team is losing, they start looking at themselves and start playing for themselves as an individual. And like, hey, let me try to perform so maybe I get my new contract, or maybe let me try to perform because I got to look out for my career or whatever it is. This team is a team, and Ron Rivera really got that out of them. And we saw that last year with the team that was, going through a whole bunch of different quarterbacks and still won the NFC East, even though the NFC East was not the greatest division. But this time around, like, don't be surprised, man, if they make a decent playoff run. I already have them winning the NFC East again, despite what the Dallas Cowboys did and putting up all those decent points against Tampa Bay. Washington will still win the division.
That's what I was going to ask you, Darren. What is the feeling locally about the expectations for this season? Like we always say on this show, this is still season 2, year 2 of a rebuild. But what is the the expectations, locally for this team?
To win the NFC East again. You can't go backwards. So when you accomplish something, it's like, if you lift weights and you can do 300 pounds, 1 rep, like you don't expect to go to the gym 3 weeks, 4 weeks later and not be able to do it. You expect to add more plates onto the pole. So like it's NFC East or bust. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of these fans know that this team got better. We know that we don't have the whole circus thing with the quarterback issue. When Dwayne Haskins was there, and then Kyle Allen getting hurt, and then Alex Smith, who knows what was going on with him. So the expectation, the feel I have is a confident feel like we know this team is going to be good. And I don't know anybody who came to me and be like, man, we won the NFC East, but I'm okay, finish second this year. No.
Yeah. No, I totally agree too. And that we've seen that on polls we've taken, and we'll get to record predictions in the end. And I got some that we'll read out. But talk to me about Curtis Samuels. Is he going to go to the IR? What do you think happens there?
Curtis Samuel?
Yeah.
It's a great question. When Ron was speaking about him, he wanted to make it clear that that's not necessarily the case just yet. But it's kind of leaning towards that because you have a guy who literally, I don't know for 3 months, really hasn't done anything.
He's out in that side field.
Yeah, like he sort of rested for months, and when a time where you're trying to kind of get him back into the game, now all of a sudden he looks like he tweaked his groin muscle again. Usually you see a lot of times they'll put a guy in IR to get him, like, shut him down, get him healthy, get him back. I would say, yeah, they'll probably put him on IR, but I think they're trying to still figure out what's going on with him. But to me, it's something a little bit more serious than maybe what they're putting out. I've had groin injuries that bothered me for the entire season, but I still played with it. I don't know what he has exactly, but clearly it's a lingering injury that there's no reason why, after 3 months, dealing with some of the best doctors in the league, it will still bother him right now. So it's got to be something serious that I don't know if he got surgery or not because they don't really say, but if that probably needs to happen if it hasn't.
Real quick, Pooh, I have a quick follow-up. One of the healthiest teams in the league for the last 2 years, quite a turnaround. It seemed like the IR list was lengthy before. That's just because of Vermillion and the new staff. I mean, have they talked about how they've been able to stay so healthy?
Well, you remember they got the new staff like you were just mentioning, because I remember I did a bit on TV on a bunch of guys who were injured on the team. I mean, it was like a long list. I believe that was the 2000 maybe 17 or 18 season or something like that. I mean, tons of injuries.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what stops what will avoid injuries is the strength and conditioning. So maybe they changed that up when Ron Rivera got there. There's a lot of stuff they changed up in-house, which could dictate that. Also, it could be just a little bit of luck. You know what I'm saying? It could just be a little bit of luck that, the difference between someone stepping on your foot and someone stepping to the right of your foot. Now you don't have a toe injury. It could be a little bit of luck. Don't jinx that, man. You knock on that wood behind you. Also, the season starts, half the roster is injured.
That's looking like the Baltimore Ravens right now. They've been snake bitten.
Someone texts me, they're like, "Man, can you still play running back? Like they may need you up north."
they have been snake bitten up there in Baltimore. I think it's the past week, I've been seeing on ESPN and other shows, they've been having this conversation about if Washington had to do all over again, would they still draft Chase Young, or would they go for Justin Herbert, or I think it's Justin Herbert, since that's the quarterback they're facing this week. And I'm always confused at how or why people, obviously we all know quarterback is an important position, especially the way the game is played today. But I'm always confused when people have the revisionist history of, this young guy, because he popped last year. He did more than what we thought he was going to do last year. Because if I remember correctly, I think they were saying he wasn't quite ready. He was going to need a little time, and then he got in the game and lit it up a little bit. Do you think for a second? I know the answer here, but do you think for a second Washington, may have second guessed that decision to get Chase Young versus getting the quarterback?
Man, I wish I could curse on your show.
You can.
Hell to, I'm not. But
no.
My mom's gonna come and get me. I'm gonna say hell to the freaking no. Remember that time period, people were thinking that Dwayne Haskins was gonna be that guy. That was your first round draft pick. So listen, you're probably thinking of, okay, what kind of quarterbacks? But you had a first round draft pick on your team that you literally just drafted. I think Dwayne went what 17th overall, 15th. So that was your guy. You know what I mean? And even still being looking back at it, I still think they made the right decision because of the impact Chase makes on the field. And not only just the field, man, the guy's a general. The guy brings an energy that is contagious. Like it's like he is a football version of like the Delta variant. Like it's like when he practices hard, and what I'm saying right now came from Ron Rivera, but I see the same thing. So I'm going to quote Ron Rivera to make it more hold more value, because if Ron Rivera says something, it's more important than me if I talk about the team. But he says that when Chase Young goes all out during practice, that then forces the other guy to go all out, and then everybody else sees, man, he's going all out. I need to go all out, and so he increases the level of play on the entire team. It's contagious, which makes the team better. And then he's a vocal leader. That is something that's valuable that not everybody has. There are quarterbacks that are not like that. Justin Herbert may be that kind of guy, but I've seen and I see Chase Young and what he does, and that's you can't find that all the time. And I'll take that any day. So I'm cool with the decision that they made because of the situation, and now looking back on the impact that he made, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
How much more is the defense? How much better do you think they can be this year than a year ago when they were one of the top 5 defenses in the league?
Well, one, remember that they're up front, they were good. You know what I'm saying? With John Allen and Ioannidis and Sweat and Chase and stuff like that. Up front, they're good. Linebacker position was a little, but they obviously, they added some pieces in there with Jamin Davis now in the mix. It was the secondary that was a little kind of like, suspect. But now you have situations where they brought in Steven Jackson to help out. You have Landon Collins.
It feels like William Jackson doesn't get talked enough about.
Yeah, William Jackson. Excuse me.
I
said Steven Jackson.
Steven.
Wait, say
you got running back on the mind.
Yeah, I was like, that's a big freaking.
but he's a huge addition. But William Jackson is a huge addition. I mean, that's
correct. Yeah,
arguably one of the better corners in the league.
So you have William Jackson. Obviously, Cameron Curl is going to be that guy at the safety position, but then you have Landon Collins, which obviously is a guy who's a 3-time Pro Bowler who had to deal with the Achilles injury, and he's coming back like he didn't miss a beat. So and we know what Kendall Fuller can do. We have guys on that squad, and St. Juice, the young guy, who have really improved this defensive defensive secondary. So when I always tell people when you look at on paper what they had last year compared to what they had this year, let's look at it just on the defensive side. They definitely improved. And that's scary because this defense was actually pretty scary last year. They just couldn't score the ball to make them, to have them win some games.
Right. I want to go back to Landon Collins for a second. He came back faster than I ever thought a football player could come back off of an Achilles injury. And he's looking like Landon Collins from Alabama again. Do you think the play of Cameron Curl lit a fire under Landon Collins? All of the conversation that was going on in the media about, hey, this young guy, the 7th rounder came and kind of took the job, man. Do you think that lit that fire?
I think that was one of the logs that was in his fire, but definitely, because Landon told me 2 weeks ago, I think it was a Monday or something like that. He did some community thing, and he was telling me, he was telling the kids that tomorrow's not promised, the NFL's not promised, and he felt like it was good that these kids still were cheering him on, and there are people who still really like him. It's almost like he realized that his career could have ended if he didn't bounce back. And he appreciated that he was still in that place where people like him and look up to him. Meaning that somewhere during that injury, he sat down wherever he was and was like, man, I don't want my career to end. Let me try to do whatever I can to fight back. And best believe, I'm watching the games and this dude, Cameron Curl, is balling out. I need to figure out some way to get myself back in better than ever to at least hold myself into consideration, because last I checked, if you look on the computer, he's making some money. Mm-hmm. And Cameron Curl was just drafted. So he's making that rookie money. I mean, think about it though. If let's look at it like dating, y'all. If you have a beautiful woman A and the same beautiful woman B, this person, hey, no, let's go for a date. It'll just be $30. This one here, a $500 bill, but they're the same looking girl. Which one you going with? $30 one. You know what I mean?
All day.
Yeah, man.
Well, yesterday I asked around on Twitter for some record predictions. We'll give ours here in a minute. I'll read through some of them. Tony Shivers says 9-8. That Stevie Washington football team says 9-8. 9-8 from our buddy Damien. Let's see here. Looks like a ton of 9-8s here. 10-7 from Jugs 09, 9-8, 10-7 from Washington Rundown, 8-9. Let's see here. Let's get one more. My buddy Rio says 10-7. So I'll go. I like that 10-7 number. I like 10-7. I think that's about right. I think that's what it takes to get into the playoffs and win the division. Pooh, we have talked about this before. Game time, though, where are you at for the season?
I'm stick to my 10 to 11 wins. I think the offense will do more than enough to give the defense a break, so they're not on the field as much as they were last year, which will only help the defense that much more be the dominant defense that they can be. So even watching the game last night, the one thing I think people forget is every year in the NFL, even if you bring back the same team, it's a different team. Like, they're not going to play the same way. So just watching Tampa Bay last night, while the offense still is the offense because Tom Brady is still quarterbacking, that defense left a lot to be desired out there on the field. So I believe that while we do have a first place schedule, I still think there's room for us to win 10 to 11 games this season if they continue to, get better and play up to their potential.
So I think I made my prediction back in like July. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sticking with the 11-6. I'm gonna stick with that one. I feel like one of the losses in the division, they'll win the division. They'll lose one against the Cowboys. I feel like they'll beat the Giants, but there are those key games. Like, I don't think they're gonna beat the Chiefs, but I feel like they will beat I think I have them losing to the Bills. I think I have them starting 2-0 and then losing to the Bills, going 2-1. I have them beating Tampa Bay. I think that's going to be like, reason why I bring that up is with a backup quarterback, they sort of they could have beat them in the playoff game at home. So now, you have a better team in Washington at home, same place. I feel like it'll be a little bit different. I feel like that will be that one game where people don't think they're going to win, and they will win. I think I have them beating Green Bay too, or I have them losing to Green Bay and beating the Saints. I got to look at my notes, but I have them winning 11-6. But I do remember that Tampa game is that key win for them, and I have them losing to the Bills.
And there is actually a game. The line has changed. It looks like it's now Washington favored by a point and a half. Still basically a pick 'em with the over-under right around 44.5. Who you got them winning this game, right?
I do. I have no faith in San Diego. And it's not that they don't have talent on the team. Obviously they do. They're an NFL team, but new head coach, new offense. We really have, their head coach, congratulations to him. Obviously, he's head coach, one of the few jobs in NFL, but he's a guy who just came onto the scene last year as a defensive coordinator, jumped up to a head coaching position. So I think it's going to take them a little while to get going to really
give us a score prediction, Pooh.
This one's going to be tough.
This is the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go 24-17, somewhere around there. Yeah. 24-17.
You reading my notes, man?
Nah. I don't think the offense is going to be ready to, they're not going to be clicking top notch. Defense always come around faster than the offense. So I just see it's, I looked at it, Washington averaged like 20 something points a game last year. They're going to get a couple more than what they averaged last year, but it's going to enable the defense to really pin their tails back and go after Justin Herbert.
Yeah, since you took my score, I'm trying to think of. I don't want to change my score, but I don't want to keep it the same as you. I want to make it different, but still the same sort of gap. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go like a 21-13 or something like that. Like,
we had Daniel Popper covers the Chargers for The Athletic. He actually took Washington. Well, I was surprised by that 21-17. And I think I'll take Washington like 27-23.
Did I say 21-17?
You did.
21-13.
21-13.
21-13. Yeah, 21-13.
Which I'm doubting. I feel like the Chargers can score more than 13 points. I'm just not trying to be like big fool, man.
Well, listen, if you had 24-17, stick with it.
I'm sticking with it, man.
Yeah, that feels like
the
the comfort zone for the scoring of this game, because I just, if Washington gets up by double digits, 10 points, it's going to be trouble for San Diego.
And it didn't happen very much last year, Boo.
No. It did not happen. It did not happen.
Yeah, that was always a thing for a while. It was like you had a team that just couldn't score at the beginning of the game. And then the year before that, it was they could score at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they just went MIA in the second half. Like this, there hasn't been a team that really came out of the gate and was able to score and consistently score throughout the whole game in a few years. Maybe the Alex Smith's first season here, but they consistently score.
Yeah, I think people are concerned about the offense because they didn't light it up in the preseason, but I took notes from like Dallas last night. Like they really didn't show anything in the preseason, and then Dak's throwing for 400 and something yards again, like before he hurt his ankle. So I'm expecting the same thing. I know Scott Turner got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He has a lot of new shiny toys on the field, even without Curtis Samuel. I think that's going to help Diami Brown get more playing time than what he would have gotten. Cam Sims. So I think they're going to show a little razzle dazzle on Sunday that people weren't expecting, and we're gonna get a few glimpses of Fitz magic on Sunday.
Y'all remember Sean Merriman, right?
Yes, lights out.
The dude said yesterday the Chargers were going to score 34 points on Washington.
No way.
That's a homer take.
Listen, he got to cheer on the team he played for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no doubt.
But I was like, there's no way they're going to drop 30-something points on that defense.
It's only one or two possible teams I can see, maybe three, getting close to that score this season. And that's Patrick Mahomes, of course.
That's I have him losing to KC. Yep.
Possibly Aaron Rodgers in the Packers, and
if he's there,
if he's there, I think he's going to be there at least this season.
Yeah, he's going to be there
this season. It's the last ride for him and Devontae, and possibly Tampa Bay, depending on how Tom Brady normally takes a little while to get into the groove. I mean, he was all the way in the groove last night, but those only three teams I see even possibly reaching 34, 35 points this season. I definitely don't believe San Diego is going to come anywhere close to 34 points. No. Nowhere close to 34.
If they did, there's a whole lot of people in trouble come Monday.
Oh, yeah. Jack Del Rio's going to be the first. So, Darren, man, we thank you for taking the time to come on with us today. Just let the people know where they can find you. What's your social media?
Yeah. I'll give the social media because I want you guys to actually look this story up because it's actually funny as hell. But Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, what else is out there? MySpace, Black Planet, I don't know. All of them. Darren M. Haynes, Darren M as Matthew, Haynes, Haynes. And check out my Twitter account because I had a one-on-one interview with Chase Young yesterday to get ready for this game. And I asked, hey, what's one name that you know good and well will not be the new name of the Washington football team? And he said Bruce. And I was like, he says, I use Bruce's name to order at Chick-fil-A on the ticket so people don't think it's me. And then I was like, what's Bruce's last name? He said, Allen.
Come on.
Can't make it up. Listen, I can play it for you right now if you want to hear it. Chase Young uses the former president of the Washington football team to hide his identity while ordering food at Chick-fil-A.
Hey man, you might be getting a little. It's not smart. You might get a little special seasoning, special sauce. Chick-fil-A using that name around there.
That's right.
That's
put some extra habanero on there.
Yeah, that's not the name to use around that area at all.
Yeah, man. I blew my mind that he uses that name. But yeah, that's you can see that on my social media platform, man. That video is up there. Check it out if you can.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. This was a ton of fun.
Cool. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Have a good one.